appreciate good audience, and you're such a beautiful audience. And I always say, this is a nice auditorium with looks like soft seats. Beautiful. Without you people in it, you beautiful people, it's just a building with soft seats. So you all make it such a neat place. I guess everybody knows, or people that don't, I used to travel with Doc Watson. And that was really the awesome thing for me, because I'm a construction worker. Merle and I went to school together. We were friends, Merle Watson. And I remember when Merle didn't play a guitar. And that's pretty wild. Because he started touring with his dad, I guess when he was 15, before him for sure, full time when he got his driver's license. Because, Doc being blind, he didn't drive. And they didn't even have a car till Merle got his driver's license. And then I think one day I asked Merle, I said, you want to go go to the river, maybe go fishing or something like we used to do? And he said, well, I'm going to California with Dad, play music. I said, what? Play music? I didn't even know you played. And he learned, seemed like overnight, And he became a great player. Banjo, guitar, his framing style was absolutely about one of my favorite banjo players. It was Merle's framing style that he learned from his grandfather Gaither Carlson. And Gaither was a fiddle player also. Went toured with Doc in Doc's early career. But Gaither was older, I think, and didn't care for the road much. But anyway, I was raised in the same community of Gaither, right up the road, not too far from here, 30 minutes maybe, Stony Fork. That's part of Deep Gap, if anybody knows what that is. And so I kind of knew Doc's family all my life. And the first trip I ever went on with Doc, I was 16. I didn't play then. And of course, Merle invited me, and we did the driving. And one day on stage, I told Doc, I said, I was thinking, he was a pretty brave man. And he took it the wrong way because he kind of scolded me. No, he didn't scold me, but I said, you were a brave man to start out with two teenagers, and I don't know, we'd go to D.C. and Pennsylvania, Maryland, just all over the place. I said, you was a brave man to get in with two teenagers and drive you all over the country. And he said, I want to tell you something. You and Merle were good drivers. And I wasn't a bit afraid to get, So I said, I was kidding. But he wanted me to know that he trusted us, even at that age. But so that's a little bit of a history. I've known Doc and the family for a long time. I'm still friends with Nancy. We talk pretty regularly on the phone. Like I say, I traveled. I did lots of driving with Doc. I drove for him. Did lots of things with him around the house. I'd help him do anything. Doc would, he'd say, I want you to help me build something. The last thing I really helped him build was a closet in his house. And I said, well, what do you want done? I said, I need something on paper so I can look at it, see the measurements and stuff. He said, I got it up here in my head, son. You just ask me and I'll tell you. So, really, he was just an amazing man. And he would, we were building that closet, and I was putting up some molding around it. We almost had it built. And he said, well, I might put this piece of molding on for you. I said, okay. You can, if you want to. just like a sighted person, but he would start them really easy with the hammer. And then he would hit it pretty big, man. And he knew how, I don't know that he knew exactly where that hammer was going to hit. And, but we built that closet. We did all kinds of things. And I guess what I'm trying to say is our friendship went way beyond music. And I'll go ahead and do a song. I hope y'all won't be too mad at me if I kind of veer away from these good old traditional blues songs, because I'm going to do some stuff that I did with Doc. And there's always a story that goes with it, usually. I don't have too much time, so I'll try to. Anyway, I'll tell you this first story. I was with Doc in a little town south of Nashville, Tennessee. It was a small town, one street, and we had all day to kill before the show. We was walking down this little old street. There was a street musician sitting on a low windowsill playing music. And he was playing a song, on top of Old Smoky. That's what he was playing. And it was it sounded to me like the Hank Williams version. Oh, it was doing a really good job. And we walked up to his guitar case, and Doc said, we'll listen to him a minute, son, if you want to. I said, yeah. Doc played on the streets too, with the tin cup on his guitar. And so we were standing there, and that guy, he never looked up. He saw our shoes. He knew somebody was there. And Doc leaned over and he said, son, he said something to me, and then he got his wallet out. Doc always put it under his arm. His wallet was unfolded. He held it under his arm, and he had two free hands that way. And he carried what I call prisoner's wallet, because the prisoners made them in a little prison camp in Boone, North Carolina, where we, the town nearest home. And that's why everybody carried a prisoner wallet. They were leather lacing around the edges, and they had compartments in them. You could raise up a flap, and that was secret. Nobody knew about it. Nobody. Anyway, that's what Doc carried. Actually, he gave me one of his old wallets, and I really treasure it, And he got his wallet out, put it under his arm, unfolded, and he raised that flap. See, I don't know what was under the flap, but the thing of it is, Doc had his money positioned inside that wallet in a fashion. He knew where every bill was. He had to do that, being blind. And I'm just assuming he had large bills under that flap. That was just another place to keep bills, because there weren't that many places like ones, fives, tens, 20s, and hundreds or 50s, But he had them in different positions, some folded, some not. He knew what everything was. But anyway, he got under that flap, pulled out a bill, and still had his wallet under his arm. And he folded that bill up as small as he could, as small a square as he could. He used to do that with like candy wrappers when we'd be riding down the road. I don't know why he would do that, but he just had a habit of folding whatever paper he had in the smallest little square it could be folded in. He did that to that bill. And I'm just assuming it was $100. And he leaned over and he said, son, guide my hand over his guitar case, real quiet. And I did. And Doc dropped that money into that street musician's case. And the street musician looked like he really had a meal in a day or two. I mean, he was a street musician. Looked almost homeless. And he saw that money drop in there, and to say thank you. And he saw it was Doc. And he said, oh my goodness, you're Doc Wilson. And tears came down his cheeks. It's kind of emotional for me even to talk about it, even though it's been a long time ago, to see him do that. He said, you're Doc Watson. And Doc said, yes, son, what's left of me? And he said, that was a good version of On Top of Old Smoky. That's about as good as I've heard in a long time. Well, probably haven't heard that song in 10 years, but anyway, he said that was a good version. And you know, Doc knew the words to every song in the world. He said, I'll tell you what, I know another verse to that song. If you want me to tell it to you, I will. And of course the man said, yeah, I'd love that. And Doc recited the other version, you know, extra verse to that song, that man. So we went on down the street, and Doc was quiet for a long time. Of course, I didn't say much either. And I know Doc was thinking about when he played on the streets of Boone, probably hoping somebody would come by and drop some spendable money in his case. You know, Doc knew all about that. Doc wasn't raised, he was raised like everybody where I was, you know, poor, you know, and just barely made it. But Doc was a generous man. And I know he remembered how it was. And that inspired me to make a song about that. And it was years after that, and actually I never played it for Doc. I think he'd already passed when I decided to make this up. But for some reason I would think about that event about every time I played, that vision of him giving money to that street musician. So anyway, I made up a little song about this. I hope you like it. Doc deserves a much better song than I can make up about him. But it's kind of things he told me over the